Elon Musk called on voters to cast their ballots for Team Red in today's midterm elections. In a tweet posted yesterday, Musk wrote, quote, "To independent-minded voters, shared power curbs the worst excesses of both parties. Therefore, I recommend voting for a Republican Congress, given that the presidency is Democratic." In a follow-up tweet, the new Twitter owner further highlighted that it is unlikely that hardcore Democrats and Republicans will vote against their party. So it's up to independent voters to change the balance of power.
Twitter published new rules for what the platform will allow, and they ban glorification of violence, promotion of terrorism, child sexual exploitation, and also targeted harassment. But the policy does not mention, as of yet, misinformation. So that is an interesting development. Yeah, lots of Elon stuff. So we should only touch on it briefly because I guess we mentioned it in the top of the show. But so his exhortation to vote for Republicans as a way to balance power is not a sentiment that I find appalling. I sort of agree with that sentiment as someone who doesn't like Republicans or Democrats. I do think, obviously, if a previous CEO of Twitter had said you should vote for Democrats during the Trump administration, there would have been a lot of anger on the part of
including, I think,
conservatives.
probably from people like Elon Musk, who would have seen that as an unfair kind of putting one's thumb on the scale.
Yeah, it speaks to what I said, I think, earlier this week, that if he wants to be he shouldn't strive to be both the referee and then one of the players, one of the sides.
Yeah,
I mean, he can do whatever he wants. He owns the company. I'm just for optics, I don't think that's a good look.
Yeah,
but
I would have warned him. I've never felt so free and happy as when I was an anonymous tweeter, just living my best life. But when you're working for a journalistic institution, when you're working for a campaign, and your responsibilities aren't just to yourself, but the institution, the game changes. Yeah. And I think what people have been really frustrated by is that he had all of these criticisms before he was CEO, and then very quickly, as advertisers started to pull out because he was making the site more unpredictable and creating conditions that don't serve how he actually makes money, how the site actually makes money. Suddenly, he rushes to reassure everybody that there are going to be content policies that make it a friendly atmosphere for advertisers. And what has become increasingly clear is that, as always is the case, it's a kind of corporate speech curbing that is going on here, where it's about corporations wanting to make money on the platform that's driving a lot of the content moderation decisions, as opposed to wokeness. Now, there is some of the other stuff that's gone on with the
totally agree with that,
Hunter laptop policy. But the flip-flopping you're seeing from Elon Musk, where he keeps issuing these new Twitter rules that people are making memes about because they're a mile long, suggests that he's very much learning on the job, but a lot of people could have warned him of in advance.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is fair. I don't know. I don't know if anything's changed or not. I'm having a better time on Twitter. It seems to me something, I don't know what it was, but something has been undone that has brought people back, and my engagement is up. I think you might have had a similar experience.
Twitter use, apparently, according to Elon Musk's tweets at least, is at a record high. Yeah. So people are on the platform even if they're complaining about how they're going to leave
I don't believe any of these celebrities no, I'm done. I'm off. I'm gone.
It's silly.
And then they come back, no, I'm just back to tell you to vote for Democrats. Now I'm really gone. Yeah, also, they're not going to go.
Nobody cared about them. People who are famous because they're actors and actresses.
Nobody cares.
They weren't famous because of Twitter. They're not journalists and the kind of people who really, for whom Twitter really mattered. I will make this last point, though, about a divided government. Eric Levitt wrote a piece a couple of weeks ago that I did a radar about what is going to likely happen if there is a divided government. Remember the Obama years when it was all about the debt ceiling and holding Democrats hostage over the debt ceiling? Eric Levitt wrote that the GOP's stated explicit plan to fight inflation is to try to cut Medicare and Social Security, and they're going to hold up the government, the ability to make payments for Social Security, Medicare, and all other government funding in order to get that kind of result. So I do think that there are going to be some negative implications for a divided government that people should look to if those are political priorities for them.
On the flip side, we could have a different Ukraine funding policy with divided government, so that'd be something perhaps to look forward to. The last thing I want to say on the Elon front, as he grapples with the policing of misinformation, that at least is not, I think, generally a category of censorship that's being done in the interest of advertisers. Maybe in some cases, well, in many of the cases, it's been foisted on them by the certainty of the mainstream media and national security officials that this piece of content is Russia-derived and should be gone. That is something that I think Elon, in theory, is well positioned to stand to resist and stand up to. And also, and this was already happening, so this is not even an Elon decision, although it's kind of coinciding its rollout with his takeover, is the community notes feature. The giving fact-checking abilities more to the users rather than having it being done aggressively by the site itself or by Facebook has this independent group doing it that's terrible. Several independent groups. I quite like this as the answer to misinformation. Not to say that because the censor, the moderators will get it wrong. They will get calls wrong. Sometimes they'll get it right. Sometimes they'll get it wrong. The thought is that in a healthy, functioning, social dialogue climate, this could be wrong, we'll find out, is that if everyone can do the fact checking.
Yeah, I think that's great. I have no problem with Birdwatch. Here's where there's a problem. That Elon Musk said a lot of things about free speech and then immediately started banning people permanently from the platform for making fun of him. So he famously tweeted, "Comedy is alive now. I have Twitter. Everything's going to be good." And he then proceeded to ban a bunch of parody accounts where people change their names. And here, combined with the fact that he wants to change the verification process from its original purpose, which was to protect people from having fake parody accounts of them that genuinely confuse people, he now wants to make it so that everybody can have a blue check if they pay him $8, if they pay Twitter $8. At the same time, he wants to protect himself from being parodied by literally banning without warning accounts that make jokes about him on the app.
I think that accusation of hypocrisy is not entirely unfair, don't get me wrong. However, the policy was apparently already in place that if you're verified, you cannot change your name in a way that would make it not obvious who you are.
Right, but people who have put parody in their account are still getting banned.
Well, he says if you say parody, you're not going to get...
He was not being truthful about that. And we can pull up some examples. I might end up doing a radar about this tomorrow. But I think that, look, there's some stuff to look forward to. I enjoy being unblocked, and I think that on certain issues, Russian disinformation, for instance, he is going to be more constant and not, let's say, banning people who talk about Ukraine and not the way that you're supposed to talk about Ukraine.
Like
but
Brianna.
It's a mixed bag. Like Brianna's doing great. But it's a mixed bag, so we'll continue to cover that, and we'll have more Rising for you right after this.